demonstrate you how to integrate Okta single sign-on identity provider with Salesforce CRM. To make our demonstration much quicker and easier, I have already registered on Okta, as well as I have a test instance of Salesforce ready. Firstly, I'll log into the Okta URL. I've got a 30-day trial period. As I'm an administrator on Okta single sign-on identity provider, I will be able to see an admin button. Parallelly, I can also log into Salesforce application. And since I'm trying to set up a single sign-on between my Salesforce and Okta, I keep toggling between these applications so that I can parallelly complete the configuration on either side. On Salesforce, I'll go to single sign-on page, whereas on Okta, I'll go and try to add an application which is Salesforce. Just to give a small brief around Okta, Okta is cloud-based. It's an identity provider application. We can add Salesforce, ERP, Oracle, and many more applications for authentication and authorization purposes. Here I try to add Salesforce application. I'll search for Salesforce, and I do get 3 matching records. One is for the customer portal, another one is Salesforce CRM with user name as the identity type, and the third one is using the federated ID. In this demo, let us choose a federated ID. There are simple 4 steps on Okta to configure the single sign-on which is needed for Salesforce. Let us give a simple understandable name, demo, SSO, federation based. And since we will be integrating with Salesforce Sandbox, I'll select it as Sandbox. I'll leave rest as is. Let's go to the next step. There are 3 ways on Okta which can be utilized to establish the single sign-on connection with Salesforce CRM. However, the most preferred option is the SAML 2.0 protocol. As some of you might already know, SAML is a secured access markup language protocol which with latest version 2.0, both Okta as well as Salesforce do support these. On Okta, since there is a pre-built support with Salesforce, there are setup instructions provided readily. And by following this particular setup instruction, I can complete the settings on the Salesforce side pretty easily and very quickly. I had to first go to single sign-on settings page on the Salesforce, and I have to enable the SAML and provide the issuer identity provider certificate and select other identification type and location. Let's do it as we follow each step from the Okta instruction. I have just now enabled SAML, so I'll leave it as is and save it back. And I'll create a new single sign-on settings. I'll give a sample name, test SSO, Okta. The API name gets auto-populated. Issuer, this is the issuer code from Okta, which we will be configuring into our Salesforce. We need to download the identity provider certificate from Okta, and this certificate will be used in RSA-SHA algorithm for challenge response mechanism. Show in folder. I have it now. choose a file, Okta certificate. Since the SAML identity type that I'm using is a federation ID, I'll select the second option. I'll leave rest as it is. And the entity URL, entity ID could be either a custom domain URL or we can use a plain saml.salesforce.com, a plain entity ID from Okta directly. Done. This is it. So there are few steps: identity provider, login URL, and logout URL. These two are optional. We do get those two URL from the Okta setup instructions. However, if it is needed, we can expose it to the end customer, saying this is the login URL to be used, and whenever user logs out, he will be redirected to this URL. That's it. So this completes the configuration on the Salesforce side, and if you see, endpoint URL gets automatically generated, and this is the URL which got generated on Salesforce. This I'm going to link it into Okta so that Okta now knows that it has to point to this particular Salesforce organization. As you can see with the rest of the instruction steps, we are supposed to copy the Salesforce login URL and provide it in Okta and continue with the configuration. So we will go with, I will enable the federation ID as yes, and I'll give the URL of Salesforce instance. Please note this is the Salesforce organization ID. Since I'm not using the custom domain URL, I'll leave it blank, and all other settings I will leave as is. Let us proceed to next. Enable provisioning feature. This capability in Okta allows you to centrally manage all your users, including creation, deactivation, provision of users onto Salesforce, all centrally controlled within Okta. We'll see that very shortly. For the first time, in order to Okta to be able to create users on Salesforce, it would need a system administrator credential of the Salesforce instance on which we want to provision the users going forward. So I'm going to give the username. I'll test the connection. Token is optional. I've just given the password, and let me check the connection. Yeah, salesforce.com was verified successfully. With this, I can proceed. Do I want an ability to import the users from Salesforce to Okta? That's the question. I'll leave it as it is now. Do I want to profile master it within Okta? I still leave it unchecked. Do I need the ability to create users from Okta onto Salesforce? I will say yes. Do I need to update the user attributes between Salesforce and Okta? I'll leave it as it is. Deactivation user, ability to actually deactivate the Salesforce user centrally from Okta. I would say I need this functionality. Do I want to synchronize the password onto Salesforce? I do not intend to do that, so I'll leave it as it is. With this, we are nearing the completion of Okta Salesforce integration configuration part. Next step is adding people or adding a new user on Okta and provisioning it to access Salesforce application. So with these 4 simple steps, we can easily configure Okta to talk to Salesforce. I'll go back to my application from here on. To demonstrate, fine. I will try to create a sample user from Okta, and it should automatically create an equivalent user on Salesforce. So here we go. I will add a new person. I will give the name of, let's say, John Cena. John.Cena underscore POCTJ. It has to be in the email format, so at gmail.com.poctj. Email ID, I'll give my email ID. I'm giving my personal email ID, and I'll say add person. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm adding a new user on Okta, and John Cena user will not be the administrator on Okta. He is just an end user. You can visualize it like I'm trying to add an employee who has freshly joined into our organization. I'm provisioning new employee in our centralized identity provider application, which is Okta. I'll say add person. It is pending activation, so email would have been sent to this mail ID where John Cena is supposed to activate his Okta user credentials. Meanwhile, myself, Tejasvi, who is the administrator on Okta, I will further continue, and I can assign the application, Salesforce application, which I know John Cena is joining our organization as a Salesforce developer. So I will give him access to the Salesforce application through Okta directly. So I'll go to assign applications here. So I can see I have created two applications already. So I'll select the user John Cena, and I'll assign it to the SAML2.based demo SSO federation, which we just created in this demo. So I'm allocating John Cena user to this application. And here, what Okta is trying to do is, while creating the user and assigning him to Salesforce, it wants to know to which profile on our Salesforce it needs to map. So I will put him as a custom profile, and role I'll give as CM supervisor. If I want to assign some permission set, I can do so. Everything I'm doing right centrally from Okta. The person I'm working upon is John Cena. I'm allocating him access to Salesforce application, and I'm assigning a particular profile and a role, which we normally do it on Salesforce. I'm doing the same steps sitting within Okta. This is the user provisioning part that we just saw a little earlier. We can give the federation ID, which is mostly an employee number of John Cena, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll say confirm assignment. If everything goes fine, it'll give me a success message. It says active 2 users. Let us go and see on Salesforce whether John Cena user has got created. I'll go to the Salesforce. I'll go to setup, users. I'll have to search with the last name, and the user is John Cena. Okay, I can already see that John Cena has been created just now. If you see the federation ID that we just gave without actually entering the credentials from the Salesforce URL directly. That is, John Cena need not come and type test.salesforce.com, or nor he is supposed to enter the user ID and password for Salesforce. Everything John Cena is going to do is directly controlled via Okta. So as you remember, little while earlier we created the user John Cena, and the activation mail was sent to the Gmail ID. So let us go and check in the Gmail if the new mail has come. My mail seems to be a bit slow today. Alright, not a problem. We can also activate the user from Okta. As you can see, I'll send an activation. So John Cena is pending activation. So I'll say activate selected. So show user activation email and show active directory user activation email. Now an activation email is sent to John Cena. So John Cena is supposed to do a password reset. My apologies. Email was not sent last time. Now email should have been sent to tejaswin@gmail.com so that John Cena can now receive his email and start accessing Okta, and from there John Cena can directly log into Salesforce. So let us go to Gmail. Hola. Now we have the mail. This is the email, activation email for John Cena, and John Cena will click this URL to activate himself onto Okta. He will give his own password. So please note, we are now simulating John Cena, the end user, and John Cena is not a system administrator on Okta. He is just a normal user. So once he activates his credentials on Okta, John Cena he should ideally see the Salesforce application. Let me refresh this. It will say active. Yeah, both the users are active. And we'll go to John Cena and ensure that application is assigned. So demo SSO Federation based application is already, while provisioning demo SSO automation task page. Okay, there has been a small issue. It has not been able to assign the Salesforce application. That was the reason we were not able to see the application. Retry the selected. We'll try to assign the Salesforce application now to John Cena user. Taking a little more time. Maybe I presume licenses are expired on Salesforce. User ad got created already. It was active and Salesforce license was also given. So that cannot be the reason then. Waiting. similar configuration for one more user. So let me try to log in with another user there. I'll go to the folder and I will click here to activate and log in. Activation token is no longer valid. That's okay, which means user has been already registered. So I'll try to log in from here. The user ID is so I'm trying to log in as a normal user, and this is the Salesforce application I will be able to see as a normal end user. Ideally, when John Cena was trying to log in, let us see if it has happened at all. When John Cena was trying to log in, he should be able to see similar application. However, there is a small issue. I'll be parallelly figuring it out. However, once the application is successfully available, John Cena would see a logo of this nature, salesforce.com, and by clicking this, user will be redirected to Salesforce application. This is it. So without logging in specifically into Salesforce via Okta, with a single click, user can log into either Salesforce, or let's say Okta is also configured access to your ERP system, any other intranet application. All those applications will be listed in the dashboard for an employee. So with a single click, user will be redirected to respective applications. My internet might be a little slow, and hence it's taking so much of time. Otherwise, yeah. So it is taking me to the destination application and placing me into my landing page without asking the end user to further log in individually onto Salesforce. Thanks. This is all I wanted to demonstrate it to you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Kindly do reach out to me if you have any further questions. I'll be happy to help you.